Over the past few days, there have been a number of excellent members of the community who have done some fantastic work to discover several new Monty quotes. These quotes were pretty difficult to find. There'd be Wisp hidden in very tricky and very clever spots that would require hours of searching. So I want to give a shout out to Athena, Smart Guy 316, the BBAT, and Briggsy J97. I believe they were the people leading the crusade in an effort to discover many of these new Monty quotes. In total, there are 10 Wisps that you can find around Gorod Krovi. I'm not going to play them all for you, you can find them elsewhere on other channels. What I want to do instead is play you guys some very significant bits and pieces of Monty's rambles, because what we can do is get a better idea of who or what Dr. Monty is, and now we start to have a better understanding of his character. Before, he was just a name. Now we have a persona to back this name. Before we really dig into some of these quotes, what I'd like to do is remind you guys of an image created by Dr. Monty. This is an illustration and a blueprint that he designed. You'll notice that his signature is in the bottom right corner. In the center is what appears to be the summoning key as well as a KN-44. But inside the summoning key and surrounding the weapon is a tesseract. A tesseract is a 2D representation or 3D representation, depending on how you look at it, of a 4-dimensional cube. You'll also notice another tesseract in the top left corner. Why is it that Dr. Monty is representing 4-dimensional objects in this image right here? What it does is suggest that either Dr. Monty has a great understanding of the 4th and other dimensions, the nth dimension, or quite possibly, he is a being beyond the 3rd dimension. He might be a 4th or a 5th dimensional being, and when he creates a schematic like this, maybe it's so that other 3-dimensional beings like ourselves can better grasp the concept. Either way, keep that in mind. When we think about Dr. Monty, in many ways, he is removed from our world because he's almost like a 4th dimensional being. Another thing we learned about Dr. Monty is that he describes himself as omnipotent, or at least sort of omnipotent.
All right, so you've got this universe, this big, changey, already volatile universe, and then you shatter it with a hammer, a metaphorical hammer, and it cracks and splinters into a million other universes, all coexisting at exactly the same time. Do you have any idea how difficult that is to keep track of? I may be omnipotent, but I can't be everywhere.
In this statement, he mentions that the universe, when it's fractured, is difficult to keep track of, and he also says he can't be everywhere. In the same sentence, he also mentions he's omnipotent. It's a bit of an oxymoron. Is he 100% omnipotent? Well, that's hard to say exactly. But what we can say is that for all intents and purposes, he has an understanding of almost everything that is going on. He's able to visit Maxis, he's able to see all of our characters perform every single one of their actions, he's listened to almost everything our characters have said, he has an understanding of every step, every twist, every turn of their journey, and he also knows what is going on. He is essentially watching down on us, almost like a god. And that's the root of it all. As we listen to Dr. Monty ramble to our characters and try to fill them in an ominous manner, we start to realize that Dr. Monty is something beyond us. He's something greater than us. He has a much greater influence, a much greater control over the rest of the universe, and not only is he detached in a universal sense, but he's detached in a godlike sense. And we really start to get into this godlike territory as we listen to Dr. Monty say this.
Free will and all that stuff. Oh, that was my idea, by the way.
Is free will really something Dr. Monty came up with? Is this really his idea? Is he the creator of it? Free will's a really tricky thing. We can't even confirm in our own world that we have free will. We just assume we do. And here we have Dr. Monty saying, very offhandedly, oh yeah, free will. That was my idea. You're welcome. That's such a bizarre statement to hear somebody make. And now we really start to enter God territory, and we start to see this God complex develop. Is Dr. Monty really the person who created free will? Were there just a group of people who were creating or molding the universe, and Monty was like, oh, you know what? Let's let these guys make their own decisions, and sprinkled free will dust across the entire world? And if that's the case, who created Monty's free will? Does Monty have free will? What really is free will in the zombie storyline? It's a bizarre thing, and Monty really seems to be playing himself off like he's a god. He's talking about how he can see everything, how he can influence everything, how he's the reason we have free will. And then he also talks about the many gifts that he brings us.
Where do you think all these magic weapon boxes come from? The chalk drawings on the wall, the magic ammo drops? The gumball machines? Do I need to go on, or do you get the message? I just hope you appreciate it.
So we now understand where all of this comes from. We knew Monty was the creator of the perk machines and the gobblegums, but we understand now why they're in every single map. Why the Pack-a-Punch follows us around everywhere we go. Why we get max ammos and other drops as we kill the zombies. They're gifts from Monty, and he's using it to influence our survival. He wants us to live so that we can go on to fix the universe. That's what he's been doing. That's his way of affecting the universe. But he's doing it like a god. Monty is a creator. Monty is basically their version of God, and there could quite possibly be multiple gods. He does say free will was his idea, which suggests that there were other people making decisions and also coming up with ideas. But either way, Monty is able to create these perk machines, create these gobblegums, create these drops from thin air, and place them down onto the world. This is who Monty is. Monty is basically the god, and it's probably his job to oversee the universe and make sure everything is in order. Now, how Monty got to this position, whether or not Monty's human, or why Monty is in this position, is hard to say, and hopefully we can explore that in the next DLC. But thanks to some of these quotes, we can finally say who Dr. Monty is. He's the god. That's going to wrap things up for this video. If you enjoyed it or found it interesting, maybe give it a like, possibly subscribe. I'm going to be continuing to analyze many more quotes from Dr. Monty. I'm going to continue to explore the story of Gorod Krovi. There's so much more to learn, and if you enjoyed this, I'm sure you'll enjoy the next video. I'm going to go, have a wonderful day, and bye.